On the rough Yukon frontier, time is more valuable than money. Kevin Beets doesn't feel the pressure of time, it is howling. He managed to pull together 470 ounces of gold after 5 months of relentlessly navigating the frigid north. Good, but insufficient. The end of the season is in sight. There are only 4 weeks left, and Kevin isn't content to merely stay alive. He can't even begin to consider breaking even until he reaches 1,000 ounces. Gold isn't the only thing. It's about showing that he can succeed independently of his father's legacy. Kevin Beets isn't merely attempting to demonstrate his gold mining prowess. He's on a mission to establish his rightful place in a family tree cut from the Yukon's roughest rock. Kevin possesses more than just ambition. He is the son of Tony Beets, a man renowned across the gold fields for his unwavering determination and formidable presence. Expectations are on him. That anticipation is heavier than any excavator could possibly be. Not like last year. Kevin has never been free from his father's direct control before. This isn't your average time of year. Here he can put himself to the test. He didn't just go into the business with his partner Faith. Alan went with him. $2 million gone into machinery, plots of land, human work, and the hope of creating something permanent. Dreams, however, do not last forever. Furthermore, reality is setting in with fewer than 4 weeks remaining in the season. This year's downtime has been really terrible. The next thing we need is high-quality gold so we can get back on track. A tiny profit is not their goal. In order to stave off catastrophe, they require over $1 million in gold. Plus, there is no more wiggle room because breakdowns have already eaten into valuable time. Now is the moment for everything to go according to plan. Kevin is aware that he has one more move if he wants to stay alive. Raise the intensity to new heights. Continue to operate the machinery. Maintain a constant flow of dirt. In Kevin's plan, there is absolutely no room for uncertainty. Fortune will not be on his side. He's putting his faith in himself and his plans. During the day, Kevin's reliable foreman, Brennan Rowe, is responsible for it. Without a doubt, Brennan is dependable. He never stops. Pay dirt isn't all he digs for. He goes after it. With each scoop he retrieves from the claim, there is a chance of finding gold. To find those little shimmering signals that indicate they're in the correct spot, the team meticulously pans the samples. Hope is sparked by what they discover. Test pans revealing golden flexes. Discernible signs that the ground extension project might be yielding results. But today's figures aren't the only thing that Brennan's true purpose is about. Everything changes after the light goes down, therefore it's important to pack up enough food to last the night shift without stopping. We appear to have a respectable cache reserve down there for the night shift. Now I'm simply going to wrap things up, have dinner at camp, and then go to bed. For this reason, Brennan continues to dig non-stop and mound the dirt high next to the washing machine. The truth is known to him. When the night crew's dirt supply runs low, production comes to a standstill. Furthermore, the gold ceases if production stalls. The dream will also end if the gold stops. Instead of pausing when the sun sets behind the mountains, the operation changes gears. After Brennan's shift is over, he meticulously builds a mound of pay dirt and then departs. It's a substantial heap, large enough to last throughout the early hours of the night. The next 12 hours will be driven by that pile. Even Kevin is aware of it. That's what he's banking on. There is absolutely no space for mistake once night falls. This factory has to be operational. Never has the pressure been lower. It grows in number. As of now, Hunter Canning is operating the plant. With her smart mind and years of expertise, she knows that her actions directly impact the bottom line. Transferring dirt is not the point here. It's all about getting the most out of every single ton. A minor disruption in the flow, she is aware, can have far-reaching consequences. Her survival is dependent on constant, continuous feeding, just like the sloughs, the mats, and the water. Kevin summons more help. With his 12 years of expertise at Goldfield, Rick Johnson joins the squad. As a miner, he doesn't bat an eye when things don't go according to plan. When machinery breaks down or the ground resists, he has witnessed the results. Rick and Hunter are now the knight. Stand by, ye protectors of the gold. Kevin is really forthright. Not even a brief pause will be enough to stop the plant. In addition, thus he makes his way back to camp, well aware that he might not get any sleep at all due to the fact that the robots like them never sleep. Someone had ensnared the loader. Another machine had been claimed by the Yukon. The danger wasn't only technical. Money was involved. The possibility of collecting and recovering gold was lost with every passing second that the facility was not operating. In contrast, Hunter thrives in situations like this. I really did not want that to happen this evening. Since I just cannot afford to let this hopper run dry, I will simply have to leave him there if I am unable to remove him quickly enough. Furthermore, we risk losing a substantial amount of gold if I whitewash. No, she remained calm. No hesitancy on her part. With laser-like focus, she leaped into action. She started by filling the hopper with enough paid dirt to run it for 8 minutes. For a little while, perhaps, that provided her with a valuable opportunity. After that, she hurried over to the work vehicle and retrieved a sturdy cable. She persevered with composure and resolve despite the biting cold, shaky terrain, and building pressure. After Rick's loader stopped working, she attached the cable to it. Rick, who was standing across from her, prepared to exert pressure by clenching his fist. As a result of the stress, the machinery moaned. The muck refused to budge from the metal. Nothing changed for a split second. The ground seemed to be clinging on for dear life. Next, grip. The loader came loose with a jarring clunk. The problem disappeared into thin air. Nobody was ecstatic. Not enough time. Hunter quickly pivoted and dashed back to the garden. The hopper needed to eat regularly. The current had to carry on. There was no time for the gold. They might have lost thousands, if not more, of dollars had they not narrowly escaped. Nevertheless, that was not the case. This evening, no. Quiet and frigid, the Yukon night seemed to go on forever. Nonetheless, the crew spared no effort and proceeded at full speed. After Rick was rescued from the muck, he went back to his loader without a word of complaint or hesitation. Resuming the tailings clearance with calm, practiced movements, he sank into the machine as if it were an extension of himself. As if the near disaster had never occurred, his wheels continued to churn through the darkness, removing trash in the same consistent pace. Because keeping up the tempo is the only way to survive out here, there was no reason to celebrate or take stock. It only takes a single hiccup or link in the chain for the whole thing to fall apart. Everything will be handled by me. Return and nourish that offer. No more getting trapped, dude. Yeah. Hunter refused to budge from her mission. She maintained perfect timing and a piercing gaze. With pinpoint accuracy, she filled each bucket to its designated spot. Similar to a pulse, each scoop of paid dirt thrown into the hopper keeps the plant's lifeblood running strong. The gears rumbled as they dug for gold, emptied the pan, and then did it all over again. The cycle continued relentlessly. Turn over, add food, cook, repeat. Discord reigned. There were no anecdotes, jokes, or discussions about idols because there was no use in doing so. What was at stake was clear to all. The first hints of daybreak slowly made their way across the rugged Yukon mountains. Tired eyes failed to appreciate the splendor of the mountains as they erupted in a blaze of orange and gold as the sun rose. With the vigilance of a general surveying the battlefield, Kevin made his way back to the location. There was no shutting down of the plant. There was yet more in the pile. It was given by the crew. Even when Rick's loader was a complete disaster, there were no problems or delays. It lacked ostentation. It was a victory, however unremarkable. Victories in the Yukon are seldom simple or free, but that didn't stop Kevin from keeping himself on the go. The Earth is resilient. It always manages to fight back. It worked, as expected. A shudder went through the facility right as the workforce started to feel some relaxation. A deep moan resounded around the scene. Very dark, metallic, and distinctive. It ceased after that. I can tell he's fast. The system that was pre-washed became clogged. A number of large rocks obstructed the flow. The treasure couldn't advance. As the gears ground to a halt, the plant remained motionless. As water accumulated behind the obstruction, pressure in the sluice started to rise. Their process, which had been running for hours, ground to a standstill when the flow suddenly stopped. This was absolutely unnecessary for them. Hunter wasted no time. Due to time constraints, we were unable to contact anyone via radio. It is too late to inquire as to what ought to be done. She jumped into action, clambering up into the equipment as if it were 100 times a rehearsal. She had a good grasp of the plant's anatomy, movements, and where to look. Her deft fingers swiftly dismantled the blockage and freed the system from its shackles. Cryoprotective gloves rubbed icy metal. Her sleeves were caked in mud, but that didn't stop her. Down. Kevin, positioned below, was vigilantly observing all movements from the controls. He remained silent. He stayed out of it. He did nothing but wait for Hunter to give the signal, at which point he was ready to restart the system. The clog was removed a few minutes afterwards. It was as if the plant had never died. It roared to life again. No one smiled, even if the tension relaxed. The transition wasn't flawless. Not at all. However, they had prevented the issue from escalating. It hadn't taken them longer than needed.